You know, you'll hear music for a little bit during that time we're sharing.
You are, in fact, watching The Dorkening.
You're watching The Dorkening. Stay tuned.
For all the geek news everywhere. Dorkening.
And this is The Dorkening. Trust me, I'm smarter than these guys.
Because The Dorkening is the best and most educational entertainment and information source that the Trauma team knows of. It's the best. The Dorkening.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for, and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody. You're watching Splash Pages. My name is Leo. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard here. We have an awesome show scheduled for you, as always. But with us tonight, Velvet Joker. How's it going, bud?
Good evening. Hey, guys. How are you? It's Tuesday. You know what that means. The award-winning Splash Pages is on, and it's your man, Velvet J, the Throwback King, here with a fantastic guest tonight, the amazing, the world-renowned Joe St. Pierre of Zodiac's fame and Spider-Man versus Wolverine and a million other titles.
Cool.
Yay, Joe!
What up, guys?
Thank you for blessing us tonight, sir.
How are you?
We're great.
Totally. And we can't forget
you.
You forgot somebody, I think, right?
What happened to Drew?
You know what?
And he
I had
dressed
an
up
entrance
and
planned.
everything.
I had an entrance planned. It was going to be funny. It's going to be off the cuff, but it's fine. Joe's here. We're all excited. We got a little extra in the pumpkin squash, so it's fine. It's fine. I'm Drew. I'm excited to be here. I'm wearing a turtleneck. Let's start the show.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this is gonna be a fun one.
And how long have you guys been working together?
About
It's
almost
about
2
to end
years?
right now.
So Joe, what's going on?
Not a hell of a lot. Just trying to put out my books. How are
Yeah,
you guys
man.
doing?
Zodiacs. What issue are we on, Joe?
We're on the issue 1. I'm relaunching the series.
Okay.
What?
So the first issue, New Zodiacs, Aquarius #1 came
Very
out.
cool.
It was due in July, but came out a couple weeks late. Came out in August.
All right.
And, I'm very proud of it. And it comes in different covers. This is the black cover. This
Shiny.
is the Zoop cover, which will be appearing for the first time in public
Very
at
cool.
Eric Yacko's Alternate Universe comic shop this weekend.
Oh, nice.
And then there's the Whatnot variant that you can only get through Frozen in Carbonite Comics.
Cool.
And then there's the White Rabbit variant, which was pencil sketched by Brett Azar, who played the Terminator. He was Arnold's body double in the Terminator.
Oh,
and
cool.
he plays the young Sheik in the Iron Sheik in the Young Rock TV series.
Oh,
and
nice.
then there's the Colorado Springs Comic-Con exclusive cover by Ian Chase Nichols.
wow.
So chase them all down. Have a good time.
Seriously.
Nice. Now, will you have those, Joe, at Rhode Island Comic Con? Because I think we may be heading down there.
Yeah, I should have most of them there.
Nice.
The White Rabbit and the Whatnot exclusives probably won't have those, but the other ones I should have for you. Yep.
Sweet, man. And I got to say, Joe, with your experience in Marvel, I was expecting a holographic cover or something.
I actually this year is also the 25th anniversary of my very first creator-owned comic that I did with Image. It was called Megahertz, and I don't have Megahertz handy, but that one's got a metallic cover. Does that count? It's got a metallic foil
that's
cover.
pretty close.
Okay, cool. You'll see that at Rhode Island as well.
That's
And
fantastic.
you'll see that at the show this weekend at the signing. At
Okay.
Alternate Universe.
Very nice.
Good times.
Awesome.
Good times indeed.
Joe, did you have a chance to watch She-Hulk or Werewolf by Night?
I have not. Have you guys?
Yes.
Yes.
What
Not
did you
the
think?
show, but Werewolf by Night, yes. Werewolf, we talked about last week. Werewolf by Night, we thought was a really good foray into Marvel for horror. I mean, we thought they did pretty well with it. I think they need to let Jack marinate a little bit more personally, but his guest, who again we will only refer to as Ted, because you need to understand why.
TS.
Yeah, he's a big guy. Very liberal. All about
Floral motif.
all about green. He's the thing you got to say about it. The guy doesn't say a lot, but he makes quite an impression. He definitely leaves people livid, almost on fire.
On fire.
Yeah, indeed. But honestly, Joe, it's only 55 minutes, and it's worth checking out. It's in black and white, so it's got that old Universal Monsters feel to it.
Fun.
It's definitely worth it. And what's also nice is there's not really too much of a connection to the MCU, so you feel
that's a good thing.
Well,
and it feels makeup based versus CGI based, which I thought was really cool.
Oh, cool.
The werewolf transformation was done all on camera. It's all practical effects.
Oh, very cool.
They did it. It's really cool. They did it with shadows. And so they had multiple people and multiple transitions of the werewolf. And as he's transforming, lights flashing, and you see, just him changing just as a silhouette. And oh my God, it's awesome.
Very fun. Very fun.
And to reiterate, Joe, it's not that it's bad. It's not quote unquote connected, but it's kind of similar to if you ever saw Moon Knight, how Moon Knight was its own thing, but it acknowledged certain things, but it wasn't just like, oh, here's an Easter egg. Here's, it's its own thing in the same universe, which is kind of like how comics used to be, where they were our own separate alley, but then we'll cross over.
Right,
So,
right, exactly. Not a direct connection to another show or another movie, but the universe is shared, and they could show up, or you could do like a passing reference to, past events or characters that are within the universe. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And did he end up creating the Are you asking? Wait, Richard, I'm confused. Richard, did he end up creating the Hispanic superhero? Maybe. Are we talking about our guest or Werewolf?
Talking about me? I'm not sure.
He might be. I think Richard was on one of the shows.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Maybe. The 90s were a crazy time, man. People did a lot of creating back then.
Sure.
Yeah.
And as far as She-Hulk goes, Joe, I felt they stuck to the point that it was a lawyer comedy with a girl that happened to have superpowers, and they gave amazing nods to both John Byrne and the Dan Slott runs.
Cool.
With your fourth wall breaks, and her being able to talk openly to the audience, which is on the fourth wall breaks, obviously, and. They did something really cool with her trying to meet Kevin, the head of the agency, which I won't ruin for you, but is definitely worth in the season finale. So,
and how many episodes was She-Hulk? How many?
It's about 8 or 9, I think.
Oh, yeah, I think it's 9. And there was a guest star, and a lot of people felt it was controversial that he was a little comedic, but he was comedic in the comics on occasion. So I thought it lined up.
And Joe, it's really easy to binge. I mean, the episodes are 20, almost 30 minutes, which is funny considering how other MCU shows, they're usually like 45 minutes to an hour. She-Hulk was very quick. Like you could probably binge it in a whole weekend.
Yeah.
I'll get there. It's I think I just saw Doctor Strange the other day. So
the second one?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Let's move on.
You definitely got to check out She-Hulk because it definitely.
They're all starting to blur together into the same movie. They're just changing pictures.
Oh boy!
So I look forward to seeing something different.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Both those editions are definitely a little different than what they've been doing. So it was a nice change. So
cool.
Absolutely.
Leo, you were saying?
Well, no. I was gonna say that She-Hulk is like a breath of fresh air. It's very comical. I love the fourth wall breaks. And yeah, we don't want to spoil the ending, but yeah, it has repercussions in the MCU that is huge, and absolutely love it.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. On my list, I have to see was it Falcon and the Winter Soldier too? Did you see that?
Yep.
How old is that now? Is this like old? So old you forgot it?
No. It's actually in the news this week.
Was it?
Yeah. So it looks like Harrison Ford is going to be playing Thaddeus Ross.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
okay.
In the next Captain America movie with the new Captain America.
So is Thaddeus is William Hurt, wasn't he?
Yeah.
William Hurt passed away.
Yeah.
So we're gonna switch roles and we'll just make that mental switch ourselves, right?
Yep, totally.
Okay. We can do that.
I mean, listen, if we could go from Terrence Howard's character looking then Don Cheadle, anything is possible.
You can totally do it. Exactly.
Yeah, and it's funny because I think I keep seeing articles about that. I'm like, man, let it go.
Or Chris Evans was once the Torch, right? The Human Torch, and now he's the iconic role of Captain America. So
absolutely,
switch your brain a little bit.
And it was funny because somebody brought up, it was like, we've been seeing different versions of characters and whatnot. Like, let's bring out, they brought up the Fantastic Four and the Council of Reeds. And I'm like, listen, if we bring back that Reed Richards, I'm fine with that. Okay. Everybody was fine with that. We just do not want Jessica Alba Sue Storm. Pretty, not like, I'm sorry, all due respect. Beautiful. Tried, no.
So you like the Yo and Grufford Reed Richards, or you like the Krasinski Reed Richards?
I think they all fit their version. I think that Reed was the, kind of smart, but, still a little funny. This Reed was really more of the family Reed, kind of like the Reed that we've known for years, where he's a dad and he's also Reed Richards and clearly not a fan of pasta after what we saw. So I again, with the thing with multiverse is that it allows that there is literally a version for everybody. We saw that with Spider-Man. We now see that with, I guess, Doctor Strange's, whatever. The multiverse, that was the point of the multiverse, is that there's literally someone for everyone. So you cannot say we didn't touch all the bases.
I'd like to send props out to Ewan Grufford, not because he did an outstanding job on the FF movies. I blame the writers for that, because he was also in a mini series. I'm not sure the year, but it was quite a few years ago. He played a character called Horatio Hornblower, and Horatio Hornblower was this, I guess, Victorian era sea captain, and he kind of protected, England from pirates and whatnot. And the mini series was basically kind of started at him as a young officer, like a yeoman or whatever that proper term is. He started as a yeoman and kind of worked his way up the ranks to captain. And the mini series, this character Horatio Hornblower was this gung-ho adventurer jumping right into the fray, and I was like, that's fucking Reed Richards right there. That's the guy, except Reed Richards translates into cosmos, right? Into hard science and alternate universes and deep space, interaction with alien races and stuff like that. But the enthusiasm and that kind of adventurous eye he had in Horatio Hornblower, that's how I see Reed Richards. And if they had written that guy in the FF movies, I think they would have been higher praised. Let's put it that way. I'm sure they made money, but I think we would be remembering them more fondly if they had written that Reed Richards for me.
And Joe, you bring up a good point, and I feel like a lot of people always are so quick in comic books things to blame the actors for the portrayal. Yeah. They only do so much. A lot of that is also on the writers.
Sure.
Because they're reading that material. So, that's a really good point. And it's funny, as you were describing this, I was like, man, maybe, this guy would have been much better of a Reed Richards if they were doing like Marvel 1602. Which, he's in the Victorian era.
Yeah, I think the context, I mean, you could still play that kind of character in a different context, but maybe. I didn't read 1602, so I can't.
It was basically just Marvel taking place in like the 16th century. So they were the adventurers of the Fantastique. It's basically Fantastic Four with a ship.
Oh, that's kind of cool, actually.
It actually really was, and we should definitely cover that for a future story. But I agree with you. Like all of those old, like the 2000 Marvels, they all had their decent points. I mean, and I've said this to Rich and Leo and Jeremy before. You see these movies, you have like one or two good moments, and you're like, wow, this entire movie could have been like that. But why? Because we had no idea what we were doing. And my best example of that, Ghost Rider. There were one or two really cool moments, and then
Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider, yeah.
Yes, the first one. You're like, oh, this is really cool. And then he opens his mouth and like, shit.
You shouldn't have opened your mouth during the 2 hours of this movie.
Don't turn back. Stay the skull. Stay the skull. Don't. And then the second
he turned back.
Damn it. Yeah, the second he was like, I feel like my skull's on fire. I'm like, okay, that's it. The movie's over.
Yeah.
But the first one wasn't terrible. The second one was god awful, though.
The sad thing is, when I disconnected my nerd brain I thought the second one was fine, but then I was like, okay, cool. Oh, I can watch the movie now. Oh no, this is garbage. This is horrible. Like,
It's like I just rewatched Blade, like the first Blade, which is actually a pretty decent vampire movie, which Gendorf is the bad guy. And then I started to watch the second one, which is totally unwatchable. Like the first 20 minutes is him just killing bad guys with no story at all, like zero story.
You just run out of gas, man. It's like, we got a hit, but we got no gas in the car. I don't care. Go downhill off the cliff. Just go.
Are you talking the second one with directed by Guillermo del Toro, Rich? Or are you talking about the third one? Because the third one,
I'm sorry. The second one starts the first 20 minutes where he's literally just killing people with nothing, and then suddenly he finds Whistler in some kind of tube, and then story kind of started. But yeah, sorry, Drew, if you like that one, it wasn't for me.
I'm sorry, I love the second one. I think the second one's great. It's the third one that it's just no.
Is the third one panned one?
Third one's Ryan Reynolds.
Yes, the third one where it's like, oh hey, let's do Dracula, but let's make him look like a club kid out of an S&M club. I was just like, no sexy Dracula. Okay, he's got to have an open shirt, not armor, and it can't be the guy who would later be fucking Heatwave in the CW. I'm seeing that. I'm like, no,
right.
Stop. I can't. No.
So was the third one the one where they actually had to CGI his eyes opening?
Yes.
What?
Yeah, Wesley Snipes didn't want to open his eyes for the scene, so they actually had to CGI. It is. Check out the videos online.
There's a lot of turmoil. Supposedly, he choked out the director during that third installment.
Oh, no kidding. Hey, it's Beatrice.
Hey, Beatrice.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, she says, Joe did an amazing illustrations for my Nightmare on Elm Street backstory prequel book, The Krueger Curse, Nightmare Before Elm Street. Awesome.
Beatrice played Amanda Krueger in the fifth Nightmare on Elm Street movie, right?
Oh, very nice.
Very cool.
And Richard's been chiming in. Love his work.
Thank you, Richard.
Yeah. I know we only have you for a little bit, so we definitely want to get into the books. So just to cover a couple really quick news items, they're talking Sacha Baron Cohen possibly playing Mephisto.
You are so excited.
Really?
Very nice.
There's rumors that we're gonna the Wonder Man movie is on its way. Evan Peters possibly returning to play both Ralph Boner and Quicksilver. Quicksilver is going to be in Wonder Man. The Spider-Man No Way Home Extended Edition comes out on VOD tomorrow. And the big rumor that was hitting the web today, Robert Downey Jr. possibly returning for Secret Wars.
Nice.
Yeah. On the DC side, the rumor is saying that Walter Hamada was against Henry Cavill returning as Superman. But Dwayne Johnson went around him to the execs to get Henry Cavill back. So Superman 2 is possibly in production right now. Yeah.
I think Cavill is the best looking Superman of them all.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
hands down.
Christopher Reeves is definitely my favorite Superman, but Cavill is definitely a sure second.
Cavill's another one like Young Gruffity got a crappy written movie. If you put him in a good Superman movie, the world will be changing.
Exactly. And on top of it, Leo, to credit yours, every Superman, it's just like all Batmans. Everyone fit their version. Christopher Reeve brought the character to life in a time when someone's like a comic book movie. Comic books, he did great. And I, also I want to give credit. Brandon Routh did a great job, and he suffered exactly what Joe's saying. He was a good Superman in a bad movie. It's the same thing with Henry Cavill. So, Brandon got his chance to redeem himself in the CW, and he looked fantastic, and he did great. So let's give Henry his shot. I mean, again, I'm not the biggest fan of the Snyderverse, but you know what? I'm all for second chances and a good Superman for a good comic book movie. I'm like, who cares?
Yeah.
Right.
Now it sounds like we're entering the rock verse. Is that what we're gonna call it?
Yeah, Leo, you're not good with names. Okay.
The Rock's going to be DC's new Kevin Feige. He's going to call the shots, who's playing who, and what properties get developed into movies.
He's going to tell Joe. He's going to tell us what's cooking, and we're like, oh, okay, we'll
I guess it depends on how well Black Adam does over the next couple of weeks.
Exactly.
The ending scene has been leaked all over the web, but if he gets his say, I mean, he's really pushing for a Marvel DC crossover. So,
you know what? Oh. Fine. Whenever it happens, I'll judge from a distance. Okay.
Well, he's been working on this, trying to get this movie done for like 10, 20 years. So maybe in another 10, 20 years.
What did y'all think of Submariner casting and footage so far?
Ready for it.
Yeah.
He's so
easily one of my top 10 favorite comic superhero characters.
Nice.
And again, we talked about this, so I'll summarize it. Joe, I saw his portrayal and I'm like, way to do something new with it, but within a different context and still within the realm of the character.
Yeah.
That double jump he does in the trailer is insane.
Absolutely.
And the Inca influence and the feathers, that's all awesome and beautiful.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what they do with it.
I'm very excited. I think personally it's going to be great, honestly. But again, there is a way where you can reference the comics but still do your own thing and it still makes sense. Not everything is an Easter egg, but we notice the small deets like the double jump. Hell, a man with little winged feet. You're like, how the hell does this not look silly as shit? But
it looked pretty cool. Yeah.
So Beatrice says, great meeting you. And she wants to wish you both a good night, Joe and Leo. So,
all right.
Thanks for coming by, Beatrice. Nice to hear from you.
All right. So, Leo, while we still have Joe, Moon Knight.
Yeah, Moon Knight. So our book of the week, we looked at Moon Knight issues 29 and 30. And Drew, why were these chosen?
Well, these were chosen specifically because when we had Joe originally on the show and we were talking about Moon Knight specifically, I believe his appearance on Werewolf by Night and such, we had Joe on and Joe was talking about these issues that sounded just horrific, just perfect for the season. And I figured, what better way to get him come back than literally show that he has good taste in classic comics. And then also for all our friends of, as Rich puts it, Shocktober. Thank you, Rich. That we also wanted something that's cool and brief. And I got to say, for 2 issues, I mean, this book fucking rocks, man. I mean, you got Bill Sienkiewicz coming in hot, doing his awesome style. Everything is gritty, dark, perfect. Just Halloween, like this movie, fucking Halloween, man. That's the way I could put it. So, but maybe I should let Joe explain more since he's the one who recommended.
No, I talked the whole time last time. I like to hear your guys' take on this because if I recall, you had never read it before, right? Rich
correct.
Or Leo, you haven't read it either, right?
Correct.
So, Leo, what do you think?
This was a great read. It's totally new coming into like Werewolf by Night and just a little bit of Blade, not Blade.
Blade on the Moon.
Moon Knight. Yeah, this was really enjoyable. And one thing that struck with me was, and for those of you that watch Werewolf by Night, is when they're trying to get it where Jack won't go after Moon Knight when he's in werewolf mode, and they did that whole like ritual that made me think of, and Rich, maybe you thought of the same thing, talking about Werewolf by Night on a show where they said it only worked with one person before. and I was thinking if that was a throwback.
Nice. I
Could
didn't
have been. Yeah. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Look at Leo with the details.
Yeah.
They're not working you too hard at your job. Good.
I got a couple brain cells bouncing together.
Only a couple. Yeah, Rich, what did you think?
Oh, I really enjoyed it. And again, with the Halloween season, the whole that the Satanists are chasing Jack Russell because they feel that the head of the Satanists is saying like this is the creature that they need to kill with their connection to Satan and their power, but it's all kind of a sham. But they're tracking Jack Russell, and Jack initially thinks that it's by mystical means. And he reaches out to Moon Knight. He realizes he's in trouble. And what's interesting about that is the very first, they actually reference their first meeting together.
You do.
Where the art of Jack Russell was nowhere near as awesome as Bill Sienkiewicz. I don't know how to say his how do you say it, Joe?
Sienkiewicz.
Sienkiewicz. Thank you. Bill Sienkiewicz's art. I really like this version of Jack Russell. And Moon Knight, he pins in, this is not mystical in nature. This is medical in nature, and he's obviously being tracked. And it's really cool where they're tracking sort of the mystical and the science and the split personality of Moon Knight, which they really get into the different personalities of him arguing with it's Mark Spector, Stephen Grant, Moon Knight himself. So I thought it was truly enjoyable. And I like all that mystical error. I mean, my Harley is a Wiccan, and that's why I can't wait to bring her your Zodiacs after Rhode Island Comic-Con, Joe, because I think she'll really enjoy that series.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, I thought this was a great 2-story. You had referenced it in the earlier episode that you had been on with us. And I was like, what a great way to get Joe back, because for those that don't know, if you ever see Joe at a con, which he likes to promote his work, he's very approachable. He's a really nice guy, and he'll talk comics with you. He's a nerd too, through and through. From he's had a long career, and he'll talk to you about his art. He'll talk to you about different stories he likes. He's a nice guy. So thank you for this suggestion, Joe. This was great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, why'd you buy
we appreciate your time, and you should feel good, and you're a great guy, and you should be rewarded for that.
Thanks.
Are you writing his dating profile?
I want to be running his TikTok soon, so I'm buttering him up. I'm working on my video editing.
All right, well, I mean, God, serve the main course if you're buttering up his role like this. God,
no.
Is there a comic book version of Tinder somewhere?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I guess I'll just put in my 2 cents. I also love this. Again, I feel like you don't see this kind of storytelling these days. This was 2 issues, and it was just compact. There's a lot going on. Everyone had their time. Yep. And I loved seeing that world again. I loved seeing Moon Knight supporting cast of Marlene, Frenchie, Gina, Loxley. I think that's the homeless guy. That's the most well-spoken homeless man I've ever seen. I mean, I didn't know pancakes make you wax poetic like that.
He's got a backstory though. You got to read the other issues.
Right. So that was great. I also loved, there was just one moment where Moon Knight is trying to argue with Jack that his transformation isn't supernatural. That he thinks it's biological. I was like, are you really trying to tell a man who turns into a werewolf that this shit isn't super? And I'm thinking about this, and I'm just thinking how I think this is actually one of the rare cases where this is, I don't know if it's whimsical or ironic, that you have this person who is an avatar for a god who, but then I'm thinking of this is where he is in his life. He's not so far, now he is 100% mystical as shit. It was just funny. You have that. There's always that one person in the horror movie. No, this is not magic. This is science. There is a logical explanation. I was like, motherfucker, zombies are coming up out of the ground. Stop arguing. Pick up an axe. Okay, we can wax reality later. That was great. The action's fantastic. I just what I enjoyed about Moon Knight is that he is smart enough to know that when he's outnumbered, he just lets Jack go. He's just like, fuck him up, dude.
Yeah.
Like, he's just killing Satanists left and right. Moon Knight is like, I'm Batman in this, but I'm still going to kick their ass. And, you know, one of my favorite moments, which to me felt very horror, was how he dealt with Belial, the head Satanist. I thought that was just, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of how Darkman took care of his bad guy. Just,
wow,
you know,
it's been a while. Darkman.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. See, Joe knows what I'm talking about. Just bam.
Been a long time.
Dude.
Is that how the guy died in Darkman, the villain?
Yeah, just got dropped like a
Nice.
bad habit, my man.
Nice.
But it was just so great, and again, it had that nice ominous ending at the end where, you know, will I ever see Moon Knight again? I don't know, maybe, but you just have the monster is free, but he's still a man. You know, you got that whole Jekyll and Hyde thing that became part of Werewolf at Night. It just, again, just another example of great classic storytelling that I wish we saw more of, because I know it's still in comics, but I don't see it as much as I feel it used to be. So that's my little review. So, you know, if our guest wants to say something, he's more than welcome to, but he says he's talked enough, so he's just going to sit and...
I just want to ask Leo, I sent you to your email, I sent you a few pictures. There were 3 emails. I'm looking for the first picture, the traditional Werewolf by Night, the covers of issue 1, and then 32 and 33. Do you have those handy?
I do.
I wish there was a way to put the 2 pictures together, such as, you know, say the cover of issue 1 of Werewolf by Night, and then the picture of Sienkiewicz's Werewolf in issue 29. If there's, I don't know if there's any way to do that, but I would love to do that.
Well,
I didn't get a chance to do it myself.
I can do that. So you're looking at so which?
Let's look at the cover of issue 1, if we could.
Yeah.
That one right there. I mean, look at that fucking, excuse me. That's a gorgeous shot. Wow. But here he is, you know, civilized. He's still basically human, right? Yeah. He's a furry guy. It's a great drawing, Mike Plug. And what I loved about Werewolf by Night was at this time, I bought these issues off the rack because I'm older than you guys. So what I loved about this Werewolf by Night is like, this guy had a belt on.
Oh, yeah.
He needed to keep his pants on. So that belt buckle made him, distinguished him from other werewolves. That's how I look at it. You know, werewolf fights other werewolves. You know, this is our boy because he's the guy with the belt buckle. But he's still kind of very humanoid, right? So nowadays, you know, nowadays if you read Spider-Man or Cap or whatever, he looks, you know, there's a lot of editorial how do I say, like a laissez-faire kind of attitude among editorials. So you could pick up 2 issues of, say, Spider-Man or the Hulk, and he looks different. The styles of art or the choices that the artists make, very often the characters, even though that's the Hulk in this issue and that's the Hulk in this issue, the 2 look completely different. You can tell an artist's style, right? When this artist draws this version of the Hulk and this artist draws this, you can tell it's the Hulk, but they look vastly different. It wasn't really the case back in the 70s and into the 80s. You know, it's like, even though Mike Plug might have drawn the first 10 issues and Tom Sutton did the next 2, and then Gil Kane did an issue, you could tell this was Werewolf by Night. He was humanoid. He just looked like he had basically like kind of a hairpiece on, and he had the green, and he had the belt buckle, the green pants and the belt buckle, right? So now I grew up with this werewolf. And so now I pick up issue 29 of Moon Knight, and Werewolf by Night was canceled sometime in, I think, around 76-ish. So here's Moon Knight, 1982, 6 years later, right? So he's, you know, when Sienkiewicz draws Werewolf by Night, it's completely friggin' different. This was like a shock.
Right.
Like to see, this is, I think I have a theory that this is post Howling. I think, when do you guys would know when the Howling came out?
I would say you're talking the first one?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say like 72, 74. I mean, actually, no, I'm wrong. It's like early 80s.
I think it's early. I would say it's early. I would guess 1980-ish.
Yeah, I would say 80, 81. It's really early in the horror because it made that impact. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm guessing Sienkiewicz has seen the Howling, and now suddenly Werewolf by Night becomes this freaking giant freaking hunchback wolf looking dude, right?
Yeah. Right.
And when I saw that as a kid, I was like,
oh, Joe, by the way, 81. So you were right.
Yep. Oh, dude, perfect. You
go.
would never know this. The guy doesn't even have pants on in the first issue. The belt buckle is gone. You know, this is doesn't even look like the same guy, right? So for me as a fan who has all 37 issues of Werewolf by Night, looking at this guy, I'm like, wow. You know, it's like, holy crap. And then like on the second page, because these were direct market comics, they weren't approved by the Comics Code. So like the second page of Moon Knight 29, he's got a guy by the throat and he kills the guy. Right. And there's some kind of text, blood spurts all over it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to drink his blood later, you know, I'm going to can it and sell it and put it in my fridge. I'm going to drink his blood because I'm friggin' werewolf.
Right.
You know, that blew my mind as a kid.
Well,
just totally blew my mind.
You know, and
revolutionary.
You know, and I think also, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Rich, is just to briefly comment. I think you're also like, we're also looking at that cultural stuff always influences such thing like that. Like the werewolf on the left, you know, gives you that Lon Chaney kind of vibe.
Yes.
You know, humanoid, but a monster. You know what I mean? Still maintaining human and whatnot. And then by the time this issue comes out, we're like in later 80s, we've had the Howling. We've had American Werewolf in London.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. That came out about that time too.
Right. So you have both of those, which are going to inspire that. So I see the one on the right, and I'm thinking, you know, David, an American Werewolf in London, huge, vicious monster. And then you have, when he wakes up, he has no idea what he's done, but he's haunted by those decisions. And Jack similar has that kind of thing, but you're thinking of this big fucking vicious animal with no rhyme or reason. It is just, I will fucking kill anybody.
There you go.
And you
so
know,
well said.
I do my best. But I think that's just essentially par for the course. I mean, I'm sorry, like I would be scared either way, but I'm say like if I saw what Sienkiewicz is drawing in real life, I have no problem admitting my pants would need to be replaced because I'd be like, oh, well, I had a good run. It's got to be someone's lunch, so okay. It's gonna be taller than me too, probably. But what you were saying?
No, actually, you just beat me to it. I was basically like, it's the Universal Monsters versus American Werewolf in London. You just were a little bit faster, but it's all good. And you know, they were great, and it was based on cultural.
Now that you mention it, I do recall seeing like American Werewolf and The Howling, and just those movies, you know, scared the hell out of me. You know, the way the advanced technology, the makeup advances and stuff like that allowed, you know, a more wolfish kind of head as opposed to Lon Chaney Jr. kind of werewolf.
I mean, again, recognized game, and the fact that Jack still played a role for years in the Marvel Supernatural community. I mean, that's changed so much. I mean, you've had people come and go, but you know, I want to say the classics are still there. I've read books where Jack's been there. I've read books where Man Thing, Son of Satan shows up.
Yeah. They did a lot of crossovers, Drew. Like I remember having from that original series, Iron Man was in guest starred in the series, and so
that's right.
Definitely crossed over into many universes in Marvel.
The funny thing is that there's always been a love-hate relationship with Marvel and horror characters, because you've had times where characters like Morbius had successful series that lasted 40, 50, 60 issues, but they try it now, they barely get 12 before the sales just aren't there. And I think some of it is of the time, and then some of it is, as we've talked about earlier, the creative, what journey you take the characters on. And it's hard, because do you just do, let me give the fans what they want, let me just give them blood and guts and mayhem and supernatural stuff, or do I follow a story? Do I maintain character? And I think that's the point of Monsters, is there's always a shred of humanity for us to connect to. Like Jack Russell is, when he transforms, he doesn't know what he does. So he wakes up and the first time we saw him with Moon Knight, he had just been struggling with having killed a friend and traumatized that friend's niece.
Yeah, so that's right. That's right. Yep.
And he sees his parent, and then this weird fucking guy all in white and a cape trying to take him in. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's that is, sir, this is a bad day to do this. Can you wait? I'm having a day. All the monsters have that. And I again, that's what Marvel does very well. And DC does the same thing. So again, I just think that stories, if you have a little horror on it, you're always going to have a good audience for it, because come on, being a superhero is scary. And especially if you're doing weird shit all the motherfucking time, like it's usually not going to end well.
And it was cool. There's I said this off the air earlier. There's this is Sienkiewicz. He was the regular artist on the series for like the first 30 issues, and these are his last. This is his last storyline. So the idea that they would call back to the first adventure we all saw Moon Knight in, which was in Werewolf by Night, that they would kind of bring that back, and that Sienkiewicz would kind of leave the series with his take on Moon Knight's first adventure. I like all that kind of that synchronicity, or whatever you would call that balance,
Absolutely. I mean, the fact that Jack wrote him a note and referenced
that's kind of interesting.
He wrote him a note like for
Dear Moon Knight, just to the cops.
Like, you werewolves know cursive? I'm like, this is a refined ass werewolf. Like, I don't think Lon Chaney did cursive. Like,
well, it wasn't a full moon night. He wrote it on a night that it wasn't a full moon night.
Oh, that's true. But I mean, the advance notice, like he had all these notes. I'm like, Jack, how far ahead did you plan this? Like, he's got the house and everything and all that. And then it just, of course, it's don't let me out. Seal the door. And it's like, shit. I really shouldn't have got there late.
It's always too late.
It always is.
It's got to be. It's got to be too late.
Because, Joe, if you know this as a creator, if you have no conflict, you have no story, no one's going to give a shit. Like, conveniently hidden behind a door. Well, no way you're getting out now. Oh, the door's weakened. Oh, no. He's going to get out.
And then again, when they first met in Werewolf by Night, he was happy to take out the werewolf. He was filling him full of silver crescent darts. And this time around, he seemed to have sympathy for Jack as the character, as a victim of the disease that he had, and kind of treated him a little more softly and stuff like that. So you can see the character arc there too.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was the best supernatural buddy cop ever. I'm like, Moon Knight.
Moon
Knight. And
it feels like they shouldn't work, yet somehow they do.
Yeah. It was just like, Moon Cop, Wolf Cop. I was like, boom, done.
Yeah. And who's got sympathy for a Satanist? Nobody. So it's like sick that werewolf on those guys.
That's right.
Let's go bananas.
That's one of those cops guys. Take 5. Just go get it. let us clean up. You can do all the paperwork later.
Yep. Exactly.
No, but it was thank you, Joe. Like, this was really great, and it was just with knowing it was Sankiewicz's last hurrah, I think it kind of makes the ending even a little sadder.
That last shot, it was like the werewolf kind of running off into the distance, and that's Bill. That's Bill running off. One of the best drawings he's ever done of Moon Knight, right there on the left. And then there he is off in the distance, onto other things, New Mutants or whatever was next.
Yeah, I feel like that was the influence when it moved on to like you just said, New Mutants, when like the Ron, it was the same influence and structure that Bill did.
Yeah, totally.
No, but it was. Go Joe.
I was just going to say, you can see his, what I would call a more straightforward Neil Adams / realistic in quotes style. There are also hints in here where he's starting to get abstract. He's starting to get expressionistic with his shapes. There's a shit ton of black. Not sure why, but it all works. It's just, everything is like even airplanes are silhouette, 90% silhouettes and stuff like that. And it just like adds, the weight, the kind of horror, the darkness, just adds to it. Yeah, the ambiance.
Yeah, and Joe, you bring that up. I think that's just a thing that a lot of horror creators do. Like, I notice you see it a lot, especially with Mike Mignola, with a lot of Hellboy.
Yeah, totally.
Dark and the shadows and whatnot, because it kind of helps you focus on, like, I don't want to say it's like it helps you focus on the action a little bit and kind of draws you in to the suspense of the moment. And again, and horror, I think shadows get even darker.
Yeah,
that's how it normally is. Like in regular, lab, but it's horror. You don't know what's in there, so you
the blackness is the mystery. But even in the issues that we had seen on my last episode, I think we did the first 5 issues. The black wasn't as heavy. The Moon Knight is a street level night character, but I don't recall. This is like it's almost like he started with a black page and then pulled shapes out of it. You know what I mean? So I was just very impressed all around. I still am. I read it today. I was like, yeah, this is still great.
Yeah.
We've got what, 40 years of history now. So some of the shock and some of the, like I said, when I was there, the change in the design of the character was just as mind blowing as anything else. And 40 years of history on top of that, now it's not so big of a deal. Okay, this is how he draws a character. That's pretty much how, you read a comic book now. So let's see how Trad Moore, see how Trad Moore draws the Silver Surfer. It's not a shock. It's just, I like his style. People are more, I don't know if educated is the right word, but they're exposed more to other artists' interpretations of the same character. Batman, there's Bruce Timm Batman, and there's Neil Adams Batman, there's Frank Miller's Batman, that kind of thing. The designs are clearly different. And but for me back then in 1982, this was a giant shock.
Oh, absolutely.
So, but I still think the story is good. Doug Mensch is one of my favorite writers of all time. So
yeah, he's great.
He still got it.
Still got it. Yep. Whether it's Moon Knight or Batman, still writes a great story.
Yep. His Batman run with Kelly Jones is fantastic. Loved it.
Joe, with your artistic descriptors of this, I wonder, when you're not working on commissions or working on your newest projects, such as Zodiacs, do you have other artistic expression that you dabble with?
Like what? Like music and stuff like that?
Are you painting? Are you writing books or yeah, music? Any other kind of artistic expression?
Well, the new Z kind of helps me out because I write it as well. So I get the writing. It's kind of all. You get the storyboarding aspect of comics, and you get the the anatomy lessons and stuff like that while you're drawing, and I'm also writing at the same time. So that writing bug is kind of satisfied for me. I play a little guitar, but I need a lot of work with that. Yeah.
Now, have you written many things, Joe, or is this more of a new endeavor for you?
I wrote and drew a series for Valiant back in the day, almost 30 years ago now, called Secret Weapons. That was my first. When I worked at Valiant, my first professional writing was done there. I did some Shadow Man story, and then I got plopped into my own series, which I wrote and drew. But I've been writing and drawing since I was a kid, So, for me, comics are, the corpus callosum of script and art goes back and forth. While I'm drawing, ideas for stories and dialogue come to my head. So if you see like the original art on my new Zodiac stuff, you'll see dialogue ideas written on the stuff. So while I'm just, while I'm penciling and inking, my brain is also working on the writing. And when I'm writing, very often I'll see the scenes in my head. So I start writing scenes. So there's quite a bit of back and forth, like a ping pong table, script and art for me. It's
awesome. Thank you for sharing the process.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's kind of cool. It's just how I always worked, I guess. Since I was 10 years old, I've been, when I was 10 years old, I sat down at my table and I said, I'm going to start my own comic book company. And I had 2 small pieces of paper, and I just started at the top and created like 10 different characters. And I said, I'm going to draw 10 comics, one with each of these characters. And, and ever since then, I was just like, okay, I'm going to do a 10-page story, and I would just start on page 1. And hopefully by the end of page 10, and the story was done, or I didn't. A lot of times I needed to cram in to finish the story in 2 pages. And so the last 2 pages have like 15 panels each on them. But I was always thinking comics, story plus art, story and art. Art serves the story. Less interested in, a rendering or a fantastic drawing, more interested in what happens to this character at the end, and telling that story visually. That's kind of my brain.
Awesome. That's fascinating. Especially since there seems to be such a division between the writers and the artists.
Could you say that again, Rich? Sorry.
I'm sorry. It seems like when I talk to artists or writers, there seems to be more of a division, and you seem to be encapsulating both.
Yeah. Totally.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. I totally understand and respect, a writer writes, and artists can't think of stories or can't create characters. They just want a story, and then they take the story and run with it from there and get creative that way. There's a million different ways that you can be creative. I respect them all, but I have I have them both, I guess.
Yes, you got the gift, and you obviously, because you were a fan when you were a kid, that's what you wanted to do, and you developed that, which is an awesome skill.
Yeah, and I have those 2 drawings I did when I was 10. I had them framed, and they're above my desk. So it's like when I'm having a shitty day, I was like, that guy didn't have a shitty day, and he was 10 years old. So let's go.
And speaking of things framed, I've been meaning to ask you this before, especially before you go. The art piece that's behind you, where is that from, or who did that? Because I've been noticing it as you've been talking. Like, I'm paying attention to you. My ADD is like, but that's a really good piece of artwork there. Like,
well, that is that's the next character that I'm going to be working on. Her name is Cricket. She's the new Pisces. She's a paranormal investigator who communicates with the dead trapped on Earth. And this, the new Zodiacs was originally a mini series, a 4-issue mini, which I did around 2015-ish. That's the cover to the 3rd issue. And so when I relaunch it, I'm going to take the story that was in issue 3, and then I'm going to add another new story. I think it's about 15 pages now. So there will be new material added to the reprint when I relaunch. It's going to be this format, like 52 pages, cardstock cover, but instead of New Zodiac's Aquarius, it'll be New Zodiac's Pisces, and she'll be the main character.
Oh,
So
nice.
ideally, each one of the signs of the Zodiac will get their own comic book.
Nice.
That's my plan.
Very cool.
Awesome.
I can do it.
And paranormal investigation is huge right now, you know.
Yeah, why not?
Yes, it is.
Again, it's like, yeah, you see my sketchbooks. It's like while I'm drawing this guy, and my dialogue is finished, okay, what do I do now? Oh, what if? I love horror, and what if we smash sci-fi into horror? And it's funny that we mentioned that, Stephen Grant, Mark Spector doesn't think that lycanthropy is a mystical, magical thing. He thinks it's science. And that's kind of the theme of this, that I'm going to scientifically explain, ghosts and spirits and these kind of mysterious things. The cricket understands what happens when you die, where you go, what happens to you. And that doesn't, that doesn't help her, it doesn't make her happy in life. You know what I mean? Some things you want to keep mysterious. She knows the mystery. That's the crux of her character.
I'm actually watching a show right now that they do that. It's like a paranormal show, but it's not ghosts or anything. It's a place that has a lot of weird stuff happening. But they brought in this rocket scientist, and they have a whole team of scientists trying to figure out what's going on. I pushed the hell out of it, but it's crazy. It's Skinwalker Ranch.
Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah.
Is this a fictional show, or is this like Discovery Channel, or what is it?
It's on Discovery Plus and History Channel. And History Channel, they try to sensationalize it.
Yeah.
History.
That's where you find all the alien conspiracy shows, right?
They're pretty real.
History Channel.
They're pretty real about it, because the first episode, the rocket scientist that they hired to bring in to investigate it, he's pretty much saying, this is bullshit. What the hell is this place? But he's changing his mind. I actually watch a live stream of the scientists, they do a discussion every couple weeks, because they're still at the ranch and still doing investigations and stuff. And it's definitely a rabbit hole if you decide to go down it.
The live stream is online.
Live stream is actually a subscription.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. But you can get all the live feeds of of all the cameras at the ranch and stuff like that. It's pretty cool stuff.
That's awesome. Have you guys ever had odd, unexplained experiences happen to you, like a mug goes across the table or anything like that?
I've definitely experienced some things.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sorry, go ahead, Drew.
No, I was gonna say I've never seen anything yet, but mine is always about awareness. I think because my interest in Ghostbusters really pushed me toward an awareness of the paranormal, and a real fascination with the supernatural. I think I was always kind of aware of certain things, and I've tried explaining it the best way possible, and the only way I can do it is through a Stephen King reference. So you've seen The Shining, right? And you've seen the scene where Dick is talking to Danny about The Shining and how everybody shines a little. So you don't even realize it, but they are. And some people just shine a little bit more. I think that's the best way to describe it is, I don't know if I shine a little less or more, but I always kind of knew things. That instinct, do not go there, or we need to
right.
is something is do not go there. There's something weird here. I was that friend of someone's like, hey, let's go to a graveyard with a Ouija board. I was like, can we stay in? I've seen this movie, and I'd like to be able to get brunch with you guys tomorrow instead of be the only one and then have to call parents. Can we just let's be smarter and just not poke the supernatural with a stick? Okay?
I have a similar kind of ability. I think I call it fear, though. It's like, let's not go in that graveyard right now.
Not to bring everything down, and it's been a long time, but like the night my first wife passed, like I saw like all sorts of lights, like driving home from the hospital, like the street lamps would like glow brighter, and I tried sleeping, and like I kept on getting waken up by like the room like lighting up.
No shit.
Yeah, and we rented a really old house early on, and she kept on seeing, like, it was right by the water, so we would get trespassers and shit. But she kept on seeing this old guy like on our back porch, and every time we tried to like go shoo him off, like he'd be gone. And one day I got fed up. I said, "You go to the porch. I'm going to go around the back, and we'll meet him in the middle." I go around. There's no other way to get, because it's a long ramp down. I come up and meet her. Nobody. Yeah.
Damn.
Love it.
Yeah. And we like the first night we were there, like doors were slamming and stuff, and I thought it was the wind, but like it never happened again. And
some of my research, a lot of this kind of stuff manifests around water. So it's odd that you had said that. You were on a lake or something. What was the water source?
So it was it's a river, and actually it was a I want to say it was a Civil War house. There was actually
history. Gotta go. Drew's gotta go.
History. Yeah. You said war? Get out.
In the basement, it was a dirt basement.
Whoa. Did you just say basement?
Yeah.
Dirt basement.
Dirt basement, and there was a part of the basement where it was really deep, and what it was is it used to be they used to build like a small ships in the bottom and launch them out. Yeah, it was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is what happens, Leo. This is what happens when we go explore basements of Civil War related houses. Okay, ghosts.
I had to go down there to check the oil to see,
Check the oil, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've known people who have had like they were in bed and sheets were pulled off the bed and there's no one else in the room, and then they were grabbed by the ankles and pulled off the bed.
Yeah, creepy.
Well,
don't hang the toes outside of the covers. Do not feel comfortable at all.
Yeah.
And interestingly, Joe, I grew up in New York, and my mom dated back in the late 70s a guy that owned the house that they filmed Amityville Horror in.
Oh, no kidding.
So his game room was actually the Red Room. And I was too young at the time to know, but years later, I was like, "Oh my God, I was in that fucking house." I mean, it wasn't the real Amityville Horror, but it's what they filmed the movie for. So
I see. Okay, so you were good. You were cool.
Yeah.
Movies don't mean anything.
Yeah,
actual house.
Nobody followed me home that night.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I love that stuff. So that's cricket is my outlet for that kind of stuff.
Very
the Liberator, he's my outlet for social commentary. I'm not a big fan of corporations taking over the planet, so he's a hacker who kind of steals information from corporations that they've sequestered for various reasons, and he shares them with the public, and then he becomes the most wanted man on the planet for it. So that's what the Liberator, the Aquarius character is about. So I have many interests, and I pour them into each character.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do it.
Do it.
That sounds very cool.
I know. Totally. And so you'll be at Rhode Island Comic Con, and this weekend you are, where are you again?
I'm at the Alternate Universe in Milford, Connecticut, and then I'll be at Baltimore Comic Con the weekend after that, and then Rhode Island the weekend after that, and then Black Friday, Thanksgiving weekend, I'll be at Northeast Comic Con.
Wow, you got a busy schedule coming up.
It's the New Zodiacs Aquarius Tour.
Nice.
I have a little catchphrase, spread the new Z. So that's what I'm trying to do.
And if people can't run into you in any of those locations, Joe, where can they find it online?
You can go to astronautinc.com or newzodiacs.com. It's the same website. And there's contact links for me there. There's a store link with the comics and stuff like that. So
awesome.
You can go there.
Yeah, and I have those links in the show notes up above or down below, depending on where you're watching or listening to us.
Cool.
And I know we kept you a little late, Joe, but thank you so much for your time tonight.
I appreciate it. I could talk about this stuff all day, so thank you for keeping me at a limit.
See, I wasn't exaggerating. You're a nice, approachable guy. You like to talk about this stuff.
It's true. It definitely is.
Okay, cool. So I'll be on tomorrow, I guess, right?
We're doing shows tomorrow if you want to join us.
Okay.
You can jump on the Dorkening. You can jump on the regular Dorkening show tomorrow.
Okay. What are you talking about?
We'll probably be talking about She-Hulk, Game of Thrones. I'm sure we'll find other stuff to talk about.
Okay. I can't help you with those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next time, true believers.
All right.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again for your time, Joe.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's great seeing you guys. Wish you all well. Thanks a lot for having me.
Yeah, we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Well, we'll see you soon.
Bet.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Always nice when Joe stops by.
Oh yeah, Joe's awesome. It's I can't wait to pick up his new books. We'll get them in person so we can get them to autograph them.
Sweet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Leo, don't get 4 covers of the same book again, please. Like I'm still your Uncanny X-Men one. Oh, I got 20 of the same covers. I was like, why? Why?
Well, I did that with Joe's last book. You got to get all the covers.
Yeah, you gotta get all the covers, right? All right. So, do you want to just, Leo? Did you get a chance to read everything, or is it worth even talking about the Marvel Zombies thing, or did you get a chance to read it?
I just breezed through it. I also had more news items.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to just quick? Is it a lot of news, or
I can go through it really quick.
Okay.
So let's see. We mentioned Sacha Baron Cohen possibly joining the MCU,
which makes you very excited.
Mephisto. I mean, they've been toying.
Yeah. Leo will be able to it's here
since WandaVision, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I follow those YouTubers, so it's, they beat it into me,
Well, listen, I always had hope that we would see him in some connection to Thanos, but it never happened. So
yeah, I mean, with the multiverse, you never know, could happen.
Another version, absolutely.
Yeah, totally. So Marvel news, just real quick. We mentioned that Wonder Man. There was announcements on that. So a lot of these are rumors, so definitely take them with a grain of salt. Channing Tatum is possibly playing Gambit.
Okay.
Agatha, the Coven of Chaos, may introduce Wiccan and Hulkling.
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm very excited.
Fantastic Four lockdown studio space for production, looking to start fall of 2023 in the UK.
Okay.
And there was an announcement today that apparently the adult Morgan Stark, that her rumor will be huge. Not her rumor. Her comeback will be a very large comeback.
Well, that's good. Is it a different actress, or is it's not the same? It's not the same kid, right?
No, they just said the adult Morgan Stark. It's very very little information. It just said that her
well, it's Marvel. I mean, come on. You think, the NDA is that Marvel and Star Wars actors have to sign just to be in these roles. I mean, holy shit, man.
Oh yeah,
tight-lipped.
Yeah, especially that Kevin, the real Kevin that we know about now.
Yeah, She-Hulk had to sign the NDA too.
Yeah.
You're funny. So what else is there, Leo?
Okay, Thunderbolts rumors. Scarlett Johansson is going to be executive producer.
Wait, Leo, let's go back to the other Thunderbolts rumor that you mentioned earlier, that Harrison Ford was going to be Red Hulk. I thought that was from a
No, not Red Hulk.
No?
No,
That's Red Hulk.
No.
Leo, Ross right. Equals Red Hulk.
Right. He can, in the comics, he becomes Red Hulk. Yes. But we have no indication that that's the direction they're going to go. And
I thought the whoever reported that was kind of suspect. Am I wrong, Drew?
A little bit. I'm not going to lie. But I think the thing I got to be honest with you is that when I've seen all the rest of She-Hulk, I definitely want to talk because I've seen certain things that I'm a little critical about, but it's not about She-Hulk. It's actually how I feel they've handled Hulk. And
watch the whole thing.
Yeah, I know. I know, but I hate to say it. Something something was spoiled for me, unfortunately, because the internet is full of garbage.
But still, something could have been spoiled, but it could be totally different. You have to watch the last episode because they totally mind fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
Because Drew hasn't seen it. He has no clue. He only has it based on what it is.
Yeah,
Drew,
I know.
Did you see? Since I already know you know that it's spoiled. Did you at least see the Daredevil episode?
No, I haven't. But I already know all about it.
Yeah. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So the Harrison Ford, again, all these are rumors. But so for Thunderbolts, again, rumors. Zemo appears, but is more an advisor to Val. Songbird is going to be part of the team, and Val is director of damage control. On the DC front, we know Dwayne Johnson, Black Adam, will serve as phase 1 of the DC universe, saying exciting times for the brand to build up and build out.
And has anybody here seen Black Adam yet?
No. I'm dying to see it.
Drew, no?
Comes out next week, right?
I thought it was out already. Since they just had the premiere. No, next week? Okay.
It's either next week. No, this week. Comes out Thursday. Yeah. Maybe I'll go see it Thursday.
Is that theatrical release only, Leo?
Theatrical release only. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure somebody will sneak into into a theater with a camcorder or something, but
they always do.
They always do. Just real quick on the DC front, Walter Hamada was against Henry Cavill. Again, all rumors from Superman returning in DCU. New Superman film with Henry Cavill in development. James Gunn pitches a secret project with DC.
Also, we haven't addressed this before. I'd like to give Splash Pages congratulations. I do know it was in the past, but it happened. He did end up marrying his girlfriend, who did play a role in Peacemaker. I do see that they did get married, and that it was a gorgeous event. A lot of people from Peacemaker, Suicide Squad, Guardians of the Galaxy, all showed up at the wedding. It was just a really nice affair, and they seem like a really great couple. And just for Splash Pages, go James!
Yeah, congrats!
Yeah. Congratulations, my dude. So just wanted to just say that because we hadn't said it earlier, and I just remembered it because we were talking about James Gunn. So Leo, back to you.
Only other thing I'll say is Batman One Bad Day Penguin is out this week.
Okay.
Yeah. So those Batman One Bad Day books have been coming out pretty regularly. The last one was, I believe, Riddler.
Hearing any good things, Leo?
I heard Riddler was good. I still need to read it, and I'll pick up Penguin as well. And
put it in the stack. Add it to the stack.
Add it to the stack and read it. Batman 128. I started reading that. And that's really good so far.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. I'll end it right there. I don't want to spoil anything because
All right.
the storyline is really good. With yeah, I don't want to spoil it. Forget it. Forget I said anything. Forget
Ooh,
it.
what? You didn't say nothing.
I have high hopes for the new Batman storyline, though.
Mm-hmm.
High hopes.
All right.
Okay, Drew.
Drew, you sleeping?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I just got a text from work. I'm sorry. My apologies. My apologies, guys. But back to it. So yes. So I recommended this because I wasn't sure if 2 issues was just enough. Honestly, I should have just kept it that way. So I recommended this really cute Marvel Zombies one shot. It's funny because it came at a point where I feel Marvel and the nerd world is kind of over Marvel Zombies, but the way that it's written, personally, I enjoyed it. One, because the writer, Fred Van Lent, who did Marvel Zombies 3, 4, and 5, which I would love to cover Marvel Zombies 3, especially as it is a great horror comic that ties into the Marvel Zombies event but does its own thing. This story was really nice because it didn't really follow any of the Marvel Zombies ploys. It was a world where there were Marvel and zombies, but it was its own thing. It was a nice, cool, cute one shot within the Halloween. And I also, I'm not gonna lie, I picked it because one of the main characters is someone Leo is very excited to see in the MCU. So thoroughly enjoyed that. But this was just cute, and I really enjoyed it. I never object to children dressing up for Halloween. I think that is just what makes the holiday great, is the joy kids get from walking around in costume, getting free candy.
Just real quick, I didn't realize this was a crossover. Batman's in it.
I want to say
Black Panther.
I want to say it's Black Panther, but sure, Leo.
Okay.
But it was a great framework because you're starting off. You don't realize we all know what Marvel Zombies is. So in this case, the Marvel Zombies have taken over for years, and this child has grown up his whole life not knowing any other universe except that existence. So he is running with his mother and trying to stay safe and inside a house and not get eaten by zombies going out at night. And we later come to find out it's Kitty Pryde from the X-Men. And Colossus is dead in this, and the kid has never heard of Halloween, and he reads about it, and he's like, I want to dress up. And he ends up finding an old Logan costume, and his mom at first is like, no, and then she gives in. And she's like, oh, I got to go out and get you candy. Why don't you stay here? And he found this little black cat in the walls, and it's really cute. And then, of course, the cat gets out, and the kid gets locked out of the house, and he almost gets eaten. But it's Halloween, and he doesn't get eaten, and it's a cute story. So it was great. It was great. It was cute. It was scary. It was Marvel-esque. It was a great one shot for Halloween. I couldn't have enjoyed it more for what it was.
I have to be honest. I think one of my cutest moments is actually Leo. If you wouldn't mind going back to when he first tries on his Halloween costume, that panel right there, throwing shade at his costumes, like Wolverine, you couldn't get Spider-Man, like that to me is just so cute and whatnot. And I loved. And she dressed him as Wolverine, as we know the backstory between Wolverine and Kitty, which apparently still exists in this world. We now know that zombie squirrels are definitely terrifying. What universe? That's just horrifying. This scene with this, I think I was like, look at this Halloween Ebenezer Scrooge looking motherfucker. Definitely creeped me out. Like that. This whole thing was just wonderfully macabre. And then I think for me it was the zombies. I was just like, just random. You've got the Power Pack, you've got the Runaways, you've got some. I think the kid is from Avengers Academy. Like, I just thought that was ridiculous. And then Darkhawk. I mean, when the fuck do you see that? And then the fact that the kid blinded Darkhawk, that was pretty funny. I was like, yeah, that's pretty insulting. But I think for me, the other great moment was how Mephisto introduced himself, quoting the Rolling Stones. Like, that to me just fucking killed me. And then he just shows up and he just lays waste. I mean, he is the Marvel's incarnation of the devil. So gotta love that. Again, I just thought this was just cute and sinister and just right up Halloween's and right up to the ending. The ending, I mean, I'm not a cat owner, but I assume anyone who does own cats that this is just a cute ending. And you don't really see that in a lot of horror movies. So, yeah. So that's Drew's reasons and such.
Yeah, this was a great choice, Drew. Unfortunately, Leo only got to skim it, but I know if he actually gets to read it, it'll pull at his little heartstrings.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what would be nice is that maybe the next show, do you guys want to bring? I would be glad to show Halloween costumes of us from our younger years. My mother has sent me quite a few. So I would gladly love to show off these excellent costume skills where they all started. So if you guys want to share some of that, I think that could be cute next show. I know we have a guest, but who knows? We can ask him to bring some too. Who knows? Why not? Everybody's got childhood Halloween costumes.
Yeah, I don't think I have any pictures of those. That's for sure.
Yeah.
How about you, Leo?
No. I think there's one of me dressed as like a I don't know what the proper word is.
Monster?
No.
Superhero? Cowboy? Sexy mermaid?
Apparently I was dressed as a hobo when I was a kid.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know if that's politically correct nowadays.
You was a bum.
I was.
I knew it. Well, I mean, I don't know. Do you guys? I mean, Leo, did you want to say anything about the Marvel Zombies, or are you good?
I'm good. I don't want to say anything because I haven't had a chance to read it in full. But I mean, going by what you said, it looks like it's definitely worth the read.
Oh, yeah, it's very cute. I mean, and on top of it, the cover. I mean, Francesco Fantavilla, who was the artist for Afterlife with Archie. I mean, what a great cover. I mean, this it's very rare that a comic to me screams Halloween, but this really did. And
not just because it's zombies. So
exactly.
it worked.
And that's the thing I loved is that you had our the devil in our story explaining that despite how much time passes, the rules of the old still apply. And yeah, it was just great. So I don't know if you guys have anything more to talk about, or if we just kind of want to wrap it up and do our ratings and then adios, Javitos. So I don't know.
We can do that. Yeah, I didn't really have anything other than the only other thing comic related that we can't talk about She-Hulk yet. So Drew watched She-Hulk, so we'll talk about it next week.
And a special shout out to our brother in arms, Jeremy, who's going through the harvest. So hopefully he'll be back soon.
Totally. Did none of you are watching Walking Dead?
No.
I'm sorry. This isn't 2013. So no.
Did you read the comics?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay. They this episode this week they introduced smarter zombies. So I don't know if those were in the book. Like a zombies that can open doors and climb, and they're not whisperers. They thought it was a whisperer, and they go to pull off its mask, and they rip the flesh off the face.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if those were introduced in the comics or if this is totally new.
It's been a long time, Leo.
Okay. Well, yeah. So Walking Dead's still going on. So yeah, that's the thing.
Well, glad you're still watching it.
Yet till the end, and then they'll do another crossover.
Leo, has Andor gotten any better, or is that still pretty boring?
Andor, it's watchable.
Yeah, you know, it's the sad thing is my boss at my job is a huge Star Wars fan. Like Mando is her favorite Star Wars show. And I asked her about Andor. She said that her and her husband couldn't even get through 30 minutes. They're like, nope, I'm good.
It's a heist show.
Well, yeah.
You know,
Well, last time you said it was a spy show. Now it's a heist show.
Spy show that turned into a heist show. They yeah. Well, the one episode was a heist. But the whole thing was building up to it, and it was a lot of spy elements. So the big item right now is, will Mon Mothma get found out that she's working for the rebels? So it's really slow. It's watchable, like I said, but
So I also haven't heard much like hype about it at all. So is this Disney Plus's first fail?
I think so.
I mean, I know some of them other ones have been controversial, but they've still been well watched.
Yeah. Yeah.
It seems like in general, people are not getting that far into this series.
No, I think I've read that as the lowest watched Star Wars show that's been released.
That's not good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah. But House of the Dragon is awesome if you're watching that.
So you say.
So you say. Listen, there's so many other shows I got to catch up to. So okay, good. Game of Thrones is a wonderful world. I was hoping that we get to see more that would kind of wash the taste of that last season out of our proverbial mouths. But
so I have to say the new show totally does that.
Good.
Like the last 2.5 seasons of the first series are totally like dead to me. That it killed the entire series. Like I loved watching Game of Thrones. Like every time there was a new season, I go back from episode 1 and rewatch it. Now I can't even watch it because it ends like totally sucky. But the new show is really good. I highly recommend you watch it.
Nice.
Yeah.
I will not. What do you recommend?
Well, I've babbled enough, so we'll wrap things up. I want to thank everybody for watching this fine evening. Definitely, Joe St. Pierre is an awesome dude. Definitely check out his show notes up above or down below, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. Check out his stuff. Also, stop by a con and go see him. He has several stops coming up, including Rhode Island Comic Con, which we'll be hanging out around as well. And with that, Mr. Drew.
Hello, everyone. When I'm not being a world-winning author in a turtleneck, I am here, but I also am on Screen Rant doing things, and I'm also on Instagram doing more things. And if you follow me on all these things, you can be a part of that experience. But until then, leave a message at the beep.
Beep.
A whole new Drew world.
A whole Drew world.
It's a new fantastic place of view. I'm done.
Where things are being written. And I am known as Velvet Joker. You can find me on Instagram, Velvet Joker 2021, or on the TikTok, Velvet Joker 1. Because I'm working on my editing, and it was nice having Joe St. Pierre today. And he is a legendary artist, even though we are talking like we are really familiar with him. And that's all I got to say.
Oh, okay. With that, we'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Peace out.
Deuces.